In this video, we're going to combine several things that we've been practicing into a single writing task on the AP test. This is called an LEQ, or a long essay question. Here are the things that we've done. We've learned to make historical claims. We've learned to create arguments to support claims. We've learned to marshal historical evidence in paragraphs that support claims, and how to put an argument into historical context. So at this point, you've learned everything you need to put together an LEQ. And we're going to scaffold this skill based on content that we've just learned about in class, the land-based empires of Eurasia between 1450 and 1750. Let's begin by taking a look at this graphic organizer. At the top, we have two sentences, and this is exactly how prompts are going to appear on the AP exam. The first sentence is useful for setting context and framing the dates for the essay. It's very general and is usually a rephrasing of a thematic focus on one of the topic pages. It's also a big tip in helping you write the contextualization intro to your essay. You could just go off of this, but know that this first sentence is not the actual prompt. It simply situates the topic in its historical theme and time period. Now, the second sentence is the real prompt, and let's break it down. First of all, notice that it is a little wordy, develop an argument. Now, that's true of any essay, and it's what we've been doing with evidence all year, so don't get bogged down with it. Evaluate the extent to which. More on that when we talk about developing thesis statements that go beyond mere statements of fact and become more complex. Now, here's the kernel of the thesis. To what extent did the expansion of land-based empires change social structures in this period? The key terms are changes. Now, that's the verb, that's the skill. And the expansion of empires is the subject that acts on something else. In this case, social structures. So, to what extent did this happen? Were the changes in social structures significant? Were they temporary? Did the role of some classes change more than others? These nuances help us address the extent to which wording of the prompt. But remember, this is only about changes in society that were a result of expanding empires. You have to keep the whole prompt in mind, or you're just writing about something that you weren't asked to. You'll notice that this prompt, like those on the AP exam, is heavily represented in the topic pages. For example, look at topic 4.7, which is called Changing Social Hierarchies. We also have topics on empire building, such as 3.1, which is called Empires Expand. These are inexorably connected. As you can see in AP Worldopedia, you can't deal with the expansion of empires in this era without mentioning social structures. I mean, think about the rise of Janissaries or the Manchus in China. There's plenty of historical evidence for you to build an argument on this. So back to the graphic organizer we're going to use. I call them quick writes. You should be able to pull this off in about 10 minutes if you know the content. And once you've successfully completed it, you have everything in front of you need to build out the entire essay. In the top section of each box, you'll write a historical claim with a line of reasoning. This means you'll use the skill we saw in the prompt and some historically specific content. So we're going to describe a change in social structures that came about because of empires. And don't say something like, there were many changes or something like that. It's too generic. To help nudge you towards specificity, you can try using the phrase such as. For example, there were many changes in social structures such as, and maybe talk about the rise of military elites or something like that. Now, in the bottom of each box, you'll bullet some content-specific evidence you'll use to support the prompt. Note that you should be prepared to employ this evidence in the service of the prompt. In fact, that will be the next step in this process. So don't just put down any vocab word you can think of. An example of something you might write here could be Janissaries. To support your claim, you have to argue how their status changed due to the expansion of the Ottoman Empire. And we learned how to do this in a previous video. These two boxes comprise a single paragraph in the body of the essay, and then you'll do the whole thing again. You need a minimum of 2 body paragraphs, each with their own claim, but 3 would be best. And as we'll see later, you can use a third to build out an essay that gets that elusive complexity point from the grading rubric. So there's your assignment, a quick write on empire building and social structures. If you can pull this off correctly, you already have what it takes to get most of the rubric points on the LEQ essay. Now, more to come on this topic in the next video.